together as a team.
The following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
And welcome back to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week, wherein we talk about last week's comics this week.
And at the very end, we throw in some news from the comic world and the multimedia world, including this week, a very special early takes on Birds of Prey. Although I guess by the time it comes out, they won't be that early.
Won't be so early. But
they will be timely.
Yeah, you saw it last night. Mm-hmm. I saw it before we got here. So we're going to talk about that.
So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we'll try to avoid spoilers, but we get really excited. We just might start talking about the ending.
We'll try not to, though.
We'll try not to. So you've got something weird for us.
I do. As you know, I always love me a good anthology book. And so whenever DC or Marvel puts out a nice little square bound book, I'm always going to pick it up. And this week's was DC's Crimes of Passion, their Valentine's Day special. And like the I think it was Mysteries of Love in Space they did last year. Before that, there was Young Monsters in Love. Mm-hmm. It has a strange couple that doesn't happen in the book. So Young Monsters in Love had Swamp Thing shacking up with the Bride of Frankenstein. Then Mysteries of Love in Space had Lois Lane gallivanting with Darkseid. And this one has Nightwing and Catwoman telling Batman, "Aren't you a detective? We're in love." Yeah,
this kind of felt, at least in the cover, and I kind of skimmed through this because this isn't exactly my thing.
Casey doesn't like to read, so
yeah, I hate reading. But yeah, Crimes of Passion and then the cover and everything really did feel like the old romance novels of the 60s.
Yeah, there's fun stuff, and that's what they're going for on those covers.
Patty Walkers.
If only we had like the crying close up.
Yeah.
But there's some really great stories in here. The lead is by Steve Orlando and Greg Smallwood. Gorgeous noirish Batman story. Mm-hmm. Just heavy shadows. I think this is Greg Smallwood's first DC work. And
yeah, so when I was going through this, I thought that's what I was in for. This is going to be a noir book. Mm-hmm. I didn't get the theme.
It's certainly bookended by very noir stories.
Yeah.
Because there's also a Ram V and John Paul Leon question story that's awesome. Loved it. There's a excellent Stephanie Phillips and Riley Rossmo Wildcat story. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite, an amazing costuming detail. I don't think I've seen a Wildcat before where they include like his boxing trunks on his costume.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting take. I've never seen that before. Yeah.
And Rossmo always delivers awesome kinetic artwork, and it's really fun. And so it's one of the things of like, why hasn't Wildcat ever had like a solo book? Like, he's such a cool character. He's so well ingrained in the DC universe.
I've only ever seen him like Justice Society specials.
Like he's in JSA. I think he had a miniseries with Batman and maybe one with Black Canary. Mm-hmm. But again, those were like co-starring leads.
Yeah, there was a good Batwoman story in this too. Mm-hmm. I like the way they drew her.
Yeah,
the back to the simplistic, because Batwoman is exceedingly pale, and I've noticed that some of the artists are kind of losing that.
Yeah, she's got to look spooky.
Yeah, like she can't look like Rose, because Rose actually has color in her skin.
Yeah, certainly a bold choice from the CW to not have her looking like a ghost at all times.
Yeah, that would be like a little Harley Quinn-ish, I think.
Yeah,
but I still enjoy my pale Batwoman, and her representation in here was nice.
There's also an excellent Cena Grace Mike Norton Plastic Man story that I really enjoyed, and I know I sent the panel.
He was actually not wearing his goggles. Yeah, and they called him by his name,
E.L. O'Brien.
Yeah,
I've
never seen that before ever.
There's a ton of great Plaz gags in here. My favorite one being the one that I sent you as soon as I saw it, where he's swallowing in his pride, and pride spilled out in his throat.
That was a pretty good gag. I like that.
So yeah, Crimes of Passion, really fun little $10 book. I always enjoy a good holiday special, and this one didn't disappoint.
Sidebar: Plastic Man used to actually have an animated series for Saturday morning cartoons, and I remember that his
that's where Baby Plaz comes from.
Yeah, and I was wondering if his love interest Penny was in this story.
I don't believe it was her. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what the name of the character was, but she doesn't look like Penny, so I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Should show up on Brave and the Bold, though, for the Plastic Man Focus episode.
I remember Baby Plaz was like the second series.
Yeah.
After Plastic Man had run for a while.
There was in the early 2000s, there was a pilot done with Tom Kenny as Plastic Man that's really fun. You can find it on YouTube easily. It's like a little 10-minute short. And they brought him back for some shorts later on, but they didn't quite have that same magic as that initial one did.
Yeah, that was always my exposure to Plastic Man. I always thought it was kind of weird. His whole costume seems strange to me. He's got bare legs, bare feet, but no toes.
Of course. Yeah, because why bother?
He's got a severe dipping V with a little crosshatch and goggles, which he never takes off.
They're
ever.
part of him.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Well, like, his whole costume is like part of him. But
yeah.
If you go back and read some of those old Jack Cole police comics back from the Golden Age, they hold up amazingly well.
Really?
Like of all the Golden Age stuff I've read, it's the most like still entertaining on its own merits. Like it's super, super ahead of its time. Like it feels like stuff from the 60s and it's produced like in the 40s.
Do you remember the name of his old sidekick? Wally? Is it Wooly?
It's Woozy Winks.
Woozy Winks, right?
Woozy Winks.
All his green outfits and his little straw hat.
I was about to say Doiby Dickles was like, no, that's Alan Scott's annoying sidekick.
Yeah, so he had a surprising amount of life in him for a character that clearly looks like it was made in the 50s.
Yeah, and they keep his look complete with the little Otis hat and all.
Everything is on that. So yeah, there's our little tangent for that. Crimes of Passion, interesting book, bit thick. So I kind of cherry picked what I read. But you also decided to pull this crazy Martian Manhunter out. But you had a reason.
I do, because it's number 12, the final issue. Steve Orlando and Riley Rossmo have done a great 12-issue miniseries with John Jones. And it's awesome. Pick it up. They're coming out with a trade in a couple months. It's only like $25 for all 12 issues. Highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Seems like the art is highly stylized.
Oh, yeah. That's Riley Rossmo who did that Wildcat story in Crimes of Passion. And they do some wild stuff with Manhunter in this series.
Really?
Like, I think we have talked about a couple issues of it on the show before. I don't think maybe number 1, but in like 3 or 4, there's a scene of what it looks like when Martians have sex.
I think we did discuss that.
Nuts. Just wild stuff. If you like weird, inventive sci-fi horror comics, highly recommend that Martian Manhunter run. Just nice 12 issues, self-contained.
Sci-fi horror. Who would ever have thought that Martian Manhunter would have that title on him? Okay, so moving on into, I guess, the Marvel aspect of it. We want to do, hell with it. Let's just do Darth Vader.
All right.
I love me some Darth Vader.
So this is the new Darth Vader number 1, our third one under Marvel's tenure, with Greg Pak writing and Raffaele Ienco on art, who's I'm not familiar with them as an artist, but I really dug their work here.
And it seems like they're going on the same trend that they've been going on in other books recently, which is continuing after Empire. I know that previous Darth Vaders were continuing after Star Wars, so I'm starting to notice kind of a pattern here.
Yeah. Like the first series took place after episode 4. The last series took place after episode 3. This one takes place after episode 5.
Kind of jumping around there a bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but we get great stuff out of it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this, actually, from what I managed to skim on it. I've always liked all the Darth Vaders at Marvel. I mean, I put it on my top 10.
Yeah, they consistently kill it, and this one is no exception. The kind of hook of this series is Vader is now hunting down everyone after Luke has rejected his offer to rule the galaxy by his side. He is hunting down everyone who made the boy weak. So he's going back and digging through Luke's past and just going on a killing spree.
That's a shit show.
You get some CSI Vader where he goes to the Lars family ranch, and throughout he has these flashbacks that are tinged in red doing like movie scenes. And the way they play them out throughout this book is amazing. Like it really hits you in the gut when he like flashes back to being a kid with Shmi, of seeing like when he first meets Owen and Beru, or when like he's losing Padme. The best sequence of the book, though, this was my personal favorite, is where he's remembering Luke falling down, and then the next panel it's Shmi instead falling, and then the last one is Padme. I thought
He's got a lot of crisis in his life.
I thought it was a really good haunting page. It gives you good introspection to Vader as a character.
It is interesting to see it through his viewpoint, and it didn't even occur to me what Vader would actually do when he's presented with the facts and he's rejected by his son.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would he pursue his son and be angry about it? He wasn't, and that didn't happen.
Someone broke my son.
And it's obviously not his fault. So it's time to blame everybody else.
Great parenting. A+.
So let's completely screw over everybody that might possibly. And that would have been a great hook if like Vader actually went and visited Yoda or something like that.
Oh, I really hope we get to see that action now that you said it. Damn.
That would have been really cool. Especially because Yoda would have kept that stuff to himself. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, held his own. Yeah, I know it's a little bit of a bending on the whole meta thing, but I want to see that.
Let's get some more Kermit the Frog fights.
You know, say what you want about Yoda. I mean, the guy is small. He's got to whip that sucker out somehow and fight somehow. Because, I mean, they all built him up as being this lightsaber user. And when he finally whips it out, I mean, he's a little guy. He's got to do what he's got to do.
Are we still doing phrasing?
Whipping out? It was nice and little green. All right.
Vader, another great start. Excited to see where this Darth epic goes.
I can't say that I'm exactly as jazzed about the art as I was as the other two.
I think the thing I've said how disappointed I was in Salvador Larroca drawing so much of the first series.
I really like that, though.
I didn't care for it. I think I like about Ienco's art is the characters are still recognizable, but it doesn't just look like he's tracing screen caps, which I think is apparently for a lot of these Star Wars books, a very tough needle to thread.
Well, I mean, there's a certain recognizability that has to go in when you're dealing with, obviously, I can't say licensed books because, I mean, they own it.
Yeah.
They own the license. They don't have to do anything. But like the cover of this book isn't exactly thrilling.
Well, I mean, that's not their work, though. That's In-Hyuk Lee's doing the cover.
Didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm not a big In-Hyuk Lee fan, to be honest.
I thought it was a poor choice for a first issue, but I guess when you got Darth Vader, it doesn't really matter the quality of it. You'll still buy it. We did.
And I was actually listening to a different podcast on my way over here, Cartoonist Kayfabe. Really fun story where a couple of Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg talk about old Wizard magazines, old comics journals. And they're talking about how you can see the change in culture from Marvel of just like, oh, yeah, we can just swap out creators whenever you want. When after Ditko leaves and they get Ramita, sales go up. Mm-hmm. And then they lose Kirby and they're like, oh, we can just put Buscema there. And that's just kind of plagued the company ever since. Like, and then, of course, the ultimate realization of that being the firing of Chris Claremont.
It was a dark day indeed. But yeah, they got rid of him like right after X-Men 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. He knew he was going to leave after, like, when he was writing X-Men 1 through 3.
So they just got him in just long enough to hook everybody into thinking that, you know, it's going to be like the old days, except it's nice and polished and Jim Lee-ish. And then poof, he's gone.
Then you get John Byrne scripts mandated by Jim Lee.
Who did X-Men 4 on?
John Byrne. John Byrne. So that's actually a complicated story in of its own right. So John Byrne has scripted credits for, I think, X-Men 4 through like 7, maybe 4 through 6. But he leaves very early on because he finds himself in the same situation that Chris Claremont was in, but with much less clout, which is Bob Harris just kind of Bob Harris, I think, was the editor at the time that drove him off. Yeah. Stonewalling everything he wants to do, siding completely with the artists changing things on the fly. I remember that. And I remember actively being angry during that time that the artist had way too much clout. Yes. That was the big thing.
Yeah. And I remember I was reading Wizard. Yeah. Wow. Remember Wizard? When they were actually talking about how much power that the artist could influence over a title. Yeah. And that's the reason why some titles would just go south is because, well, for them, the art was making the money. Yeah. And it was true. In the 90s, everybody pretty much followed whatever pretty bit of a page that they were looking on. They really didn't pay too much attention to the writing. I mean, I was a kid around that time, and I completely ignored the writers, except for, what was his name? Ron Mars, that guy that made Kyle?
Yes.
I hated him.
Yeah. Fool.
I'm a Hal fan. He got rid of Hal and he dogged Hal constantly in all his editorials. Didn't care for the man.
I I don't care much for Hal Jordan. I'm sorry he gave Hal Jordan his first interesting character moment in the then 30 years of existence.
That wasn't the problem I was talking about. Interesting character moments are great. I'm all about the whole Parallax story. I was all about it. But the fact that it almost seemed like he hated the character and he pledged that he would never bring him back.
See, I would do that too if I had to deal with Hal's Emerald Attack team. Do you remember Hal's Emerald Attack team? Heat. It was a group of very angry fans in the before Twitter days who would just inundate DC with angry fan mail and talking about how they'll never buy Green Lantern again and how they'll keep sending letters until Hal Jordan comes back. So if I had to deal with that crap in a pre-internet day, especially, can you imagine what happened now? Oh my God, 100%. Yeah. Like, because he came on to Green Lantern not being a particularly big Green Lantern fan. Like, it was just a job. They basically just like, hey, new guy, throw you to the wolves to replace Hal Jordan.
Oh, hey, yeah. But he wasn't the one that actually wrote Emerald Twilight, was he?
Yeah, he did.
He did?
48's his first issue. So again, they just needed a guy to throw into the wood chipper for fans, and then he wound up sticking around with the book.
I have to admit, I was not reading Green Lantern with any level of regularity until Emerald Twilight.
It's a great story.
And then I was like completely confused. I was like, why is Sinestro here? And why does he seem to have so much? Yeah. Why does he have seen subject? Oh, now he's dead. Well, let's reel back that tangent.
Wow. Yeah, we got real off course there.
So what we got left here is yet another reboot of Ant-Man. Really liked this one.
It's really fun.
I really liked it. Looks like they reimagined his daughter's Stature into a new persona.
Stinger's been actually predates Stature.
Really?
Stinger is from the MC2 universe, like the Spider-Girl stuff.
Well, yeah, I knew about that. I knew that she was an MC2, but I didn't know that she had any level of 616 activity.
Yeah, in Nick Spencer's Ant-Man from about like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. The kind of the ending of that is her becoming Stinger.
Oh, I totally missed that.
But they use the classic costume, which I'm not a big fan of, but I love this new rendition of it. I really like how it's just a palette swap of Scott's Ant-Man costume and looks really cool.
I don't know. Maybe it's because Stature always seemed to be like huge most of the time when they'd use her, but she just seems a little smaller than I remember her.
Yeah, she also got de-aged a bit after her resurrection, which is disappointing, but is what it is.
How did they resurrect her?
Way back in Axis, Dr. Doom, when he is all inverted and being a good guy, is like, the worst thing I have done was kill a child, and so I will undo it.
He killed Stature?
Yeah, in Children's Crusade.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
And so
Young Avengers came back just long enough for that storyline and disappeared again.
And so inverted Victor Von Doom to make things all right, resurrects Cassie, and she's a bit younger than when she died. So, all right, well, I think she's like 13 or 14. Well, she wasn't super old when she died either. She was
like 19.
Oh man, they age her up that quick? Because in Young Avengers, when it starts, she's the youngest one. She's like 13 or 14.
I remember her being like a legal adult during the initiative.
So she's probably like, let's say 17 or 18. Because that even by Marvel sliding timeline, yeah, she is 18.
A teen.
And now she's younger. She's like 14, maybe 15.
Okay.
But yeah, really fun little story. Zeb Wells and Dylan Burnett working on it. AIM is there. We got bees.
Yeah, of course we got it. And I'm thoroughly thrilled by the fact that Ant-Man is squatting in an anthill.
Yes.
Because he can't get a place.
That was so good.
And he's still got a landlord.
I love the bit where he and Cassie are in an argument during a fight when he's all giant man and holding an AIM guy. And he goes, can you please stop talking with your hands? I'm getting kind of nauseous.
Oh, yeah. Hey, sorry.
And the book ends with, has kind of like a little double ending thing going where at first it's like, Swarm's the one controlling the bees. Duh. Yeah.
And because we hate Nazis, we assume immediately that Swarm is the bad guy.
But of course, Swarm is actually fighting a bigger threat. More bug people.
Yeah, there's some nasty bug people here. And the entire time that he's Ant-Man's trying to reclaim these bees, because even the bees don't like Swarm.
Yeah.
Bees think Swarm sucks.
He is a Nazi that forcibly controls bees.
Yeah, so he's like, no, I need those bees. I'm like, whatever, you're a villain.
A skeleton with a purple cloak.
Yeah, so God, I'm trying to remember the names of these atrocities that come out. Was like one of them's like silkworms.
Magic School ad.
Oh, yeah. And we
it's
also
Vespa, the Spectre of Hornets, Thread, the Silkworm Ghoul, and Tusk, the Rhino Beetle Hulk.
That's nasty.
It's great. They look real gnarly too.
Oh, yeah, I
Great
totally
stuff.
forgot that there's an 8-page demo or promo for Strange Academy in that.
Yeah, I still haven't read through it.
I have.
Every time I see the ad with the Frost Giant kid, I think their head is the blue M&M because they've got like 3 white stripes on their chin.
Yeah, so you think it's the M&M logo?
It's like,
yeah. So apparently in the thing they actually do call it the Strange Academy, and like Brother Voodoo is kind of running it, and he's got like Damien Hellstrom, Magic, God, what is something, a Scarlet Witch. And I don't think that Wiccan was involved in this, although I did see him in a sim frames. I don't think he's a student teacher or anything like that.
I'm sure we'll talk about it when it comes out.
Yeah. And there's like, well, all this stuff, why don't we get Doctor Strange? It was like, well, funny you should mention that. And a big portal opens up from another dimension, and Doctor Strange like fighting some Cthulhu nightmares. Like, well, now you wanted me, here I am. Help me fight this thing. And then that's kind of what happens.
I am excited to see Humberto Ramos do more like kind of fanciful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. I think he and Paul Jenkins used to do a lot of like kind of fairy tale books together. And also, I'm very excited for that Kid Dormammu.
Yeah. I'm a fan of anything from the whole Dark Dimension thing. I think Dormammu is underappreciated in the Marvel Universe right now.
You know who I really want to see come back? You remember in Next Wave, the mindless one that put on a little hat and started skateboarding?
Oh, actually, he's in this.
Is that one specifically?
I think that is because it's the mindful one.
That's sweet.
And he's their cook.
Okay, not the same one then. But I just want that little Bart Simpson-esque.
Well, I mean, they got a
one.
mindless one that thinks for himself, and I just thought that maybe that was it because he is the mindful one.
Nah. This one he had like a little Hawaiian shirt, a little hat, and was doing sick.
I don't
kick
think he
flips.
was doing any sick flips.
Damn, disappointing.
Yeah, he just looked like a mindless one, except like instead of like a line, it's like a hole. Or I forgot. He looks like a mindless one.
Yeah. But moving right along to well, I don't normally pick up this title. And it's another one that was like, maybe, but get too many books.
Mm-hmm.
But with the guest artist for 2 issues and the premise of it, I had to pick it up.
It was nicely drawn.
Yes, a huge Chris Anka fan. And of course, referring to Black Cat number 9, which has Felicia Hardy head to Madripoor to team up with old Patch.
Yeah, apparently she has no clue who Patch is. And she's talking to all these people, and they're like, I don't know who that is. And then one person knows, he goes, you don't know, do you? No spoilers.
It's Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, that the reveal that Howard vacations in Madripoor.
Yes. We saw Howard the Duck.
But yeah, I love Chris Anka's art. I'll pick up just about anything he does. And so this was a nice treat.
It seems like they're also playing off a little bit from their history because they had that miniseries Claws.
Mm-hmm. Michael Eisner, right?
Yeah. There's some weird covers on that one.
Yeah.
I didn't read Claws.
I haven't read it either.
I didn't think it was of any real quality.
I never heard great things about it. I'm not a big Linsner fan.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I think he's played out.
He's kind of in that same school of Jim Balin for me. It's like, I respect what you do, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah, I mean, and whoever does Lady Death, that's kind of how I kind of put him in that same category. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's great. You're prolific. You've been around, but your characters are just,
yeah, not my thing.
Not my thing.
But Black Cat real good.
It was. I was really surprised by it. Oh, and Silver Fox was in it. I liked the fact that he was in there.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Silver Fox in a long time.
I'd always been kind of surprised that Black Cat has been such a consistently great seller. I mean, a lot of it's probably due to J. Scott Campbell covers. Mm-hmm. But Jed MacKay writes a really fun Felicia, and he set up a really fun little heist story.
Yeah. Was there Dadden in this? No. Maybe I'm getting confused with the Fox and his role in this whole thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so they're basically she's trying to steal something that she thought was going to be in Patch's vault.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he realizes that his stuff's been looted, they're both going after that. And so it's like an anti-caper.
Yes.
Yes.
And I do like that Chris Anka remembered to keep Wolverine extra short.
Yes.
Because he comes like up to Felicia's shoulder.
I was really surprised that it's very rare you ever actually see his height come into play. But when you see them side to side and you realize that she's got easily 4 inches on him. And he's just this stumpy little dude looking up at her. I was like, there you go.
Our favorite angry dwarf, Wolverine. So yeah, Black Cat, at least for 2 issues, pick it up. Great little book.
So another The End book came out this time.
And I think this is the final one.
Is this the last one?
End.
The End of the End.
Oh.
And this is Captain America through the eye of our boy Erik Larsen.
And Erik Larsen, if nothing else about him, one of the biggest Kirby fans in comics.
And this felt Kirby-esque.
Yeah, this is like that Captain America, like around the 190, 200 frame. It is such a blast.
It's an exceptionally Red Skulled book.
Yes. So in the not too distant future, you remember when Red Skull was Del Rusk and he had that Red Skull plague in Jeff Johns' Avengers?
Oh, yeah.
Because this is a callback to that. So Red Skull puts out the Red Skull plague and everyone in America is red skulls and it's very commandy looking. Like there's a sunken Statue of Liberty and everything.
Yeah, it was definitely a Kirby-esque skull. Every time I turned a page, I was looking at like 20 skulls.
There's a direct homage to an old Kirby panel, like the one where it's like Red Skull pointing and Captain America charging.
No,
I thought it was a really cool. We'll throw that panel into the pictures, but
I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of Larsen's work anymore. I have to say that.
I know. I'm generally not a big Larsen fan. I respect what he does, but not really my thing. But this was awesome. This is what I like from Erik Larsen. I like that Kirby turned up to 11. When he can tap into that energy, it's so fun. And also love the way this book ends. Instead of like fighting his way through all the skulls, which he does. He does fight his way out. But Steve realizes ultimately that it's the super serum in his blood is the cure to the skull disease. And so rather than going out and fighting skulls every night, he just donates his blood. Just donates like good amount of whatever's the healthy amount for
what
super
a
soldier.
Good citizen, Mr. Rogers.
I thought that was a really good ending. And I like the message a lot. I love the visuals. Just a really fun story.
You actually spent more time on this book than I did. I kind of just paged through it to kind of get the idea of what I was dealing with. Did you get any of the Kirby perspective? This one?
Oh, a whole lot of that. Yeah, and Erik Larsen's ability to like pace out an action sequence unparalleled. Dude knows how to communicate visually in comics. Yeah. Like he is just an incredible draftsman. I really dug this book. This is what I like seeing Larsen do. Because Savage Dragon, we talked about before, 2 12-year-olds in a trench coat. He does what he wants, and it's not really something I'm interested in. Yeah.
I feel like I need to explain what I'm talking about with the Kirby perspective. Kirby very fancily used to do perspectives from foreground to midground, starting with somebody's hand. So that a hand would be in the foreground, dominating the image, and then progressively back, he would be a scaled body. So you had the hand, the point. See this part of
those nice square hands,
exactly. Little square fingers doing this bit. I'll just right in your face. He always wanted to go for. I guess he was going for the 3D look back before there was 3D.
Kirby invented the third dimension.
He did. He really did. There was a lot of things. No, I'm not a Kirby fan, and that's only because Kirby's style doesn't fit with what I like. But I'm not ignorant enough to say that he didn't invent a lot of things that influence comics to today. Whether it be, that kind of odd perspective, not limiting themselves to the framework, and of course, Kirby dots.
Yeah. And speaking of inventing, there is one actually pretty major goof, but Marvel was quick to address it. In the final page, and its creator credits for Captain America, it credits Stan Lee and Jack Kirby instead of...
I gave the wrong creators.
Yeah, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby.
I actually managed to talk to one of the creators.
Joe Simon?
Is it Joe Simon? And what's the name of the other one?
Joe Simon and Jack Kirby?
For that creator, Captain America?
Yeah.
Okay. I spoke to Joe Simon in his last years. I used to work for a bank a long time ago, and it just happened to be the bank that Joe Simon used.
Oh, it's super cool.
So he called up, and this was like before... when they were still talking about the Captain America movie and they weren't really sure what was going to happen. This is before the Marvel Universe really started ramping up, but it was really cool to flat out talk to him about of course, he said, "Oh yeah, I created Captain America." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." Oh yeah, it is you. It's like clearly in his 90s because he got all this information. And so I was talking about the drawing style he used, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna make a movie. It's going to be really cool. And they're going to use the old school." And he's still loving his creation. And it was, I feel fortunate that I got a chance to interact with him before he died.
I'm super jealous. That is awesome. And moving right along. Oh, hey, would you look at the time?
What do you know?
X time.
It is time for some X titles.
So, Marauders. Guest artist Stefano Caselli draws the story of Callisto becoming the new White Knight.
Yeah, we got almost a harken back to her history. A lot of people forget that Callisto was an exceedingly beautiful model before she got marked up and decided to self-exile herself. But you know what else this book does not do? Tell us anything about what happened to Cape Pride.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, but I kind of dig the suspense building.
Yeah.
Although I swear to God, if they killed Lockheed.
Oh, yeah. Places will burn. There will be riots in the street.
I really like that they talk about what happened with the Morlocks, how a lot of them, they just got like a little area in, what was it, New Mexico or Arizona? It was Arizona.
Yeah.
It's
all super plush.
And I love the how one of the info pages is like a Nextdoor kind of app where it's just all the people complaining about the Morlocks.
I like the fact that
whoever keeps leaving these Halloween masks around.
This is not very funny. I like the fact that Mask, who is one of the most Morlockish of the Morlocks, always, you didn't even know what sex they were because he always concealed himself in robes, and he was just a hideous dude. Turns out he's just a really old dude, and he's really ugly. But now, there he is out in
playing golf, shooting around,
and living the life that they always mocked. And all he wants to do is bitch about it.
Indeed.
It's like, why do I love this sport so much?
And getting back to Callisto, I loved her interaction with Emma and with my boy Jumbo Carnation.
Yes, Jumbo Carnation. I didn't really know much about this character. I thought, oh wow, Forearm really kind of outed himself. Guess he's like that. But this is not Forearm. This is yet another four-armed mutant. But this is the one that died very early.
Yes, way back in Grant Morrison's New X-Men. He is essentially a martyr that radicalizes Quentin Quire. He was a mutant fashion designer that was pretty well accepted by the humans, but someone still shot him in the streets. But he's back.
He's back, and he's fabulous.
His first line of dialogue ever.
Yes.
He's never spoken before. And my God, he's great. He designs Callisto this badass white long coat that she immediately slices the sleeves off of. And he's like, oh my God, it's even better than I could have. He has a bit where it's like, I would be ashamed to take credit for this innovation.
He's decidedly over fabulous.
He's so good. I loved the take on him. And his design, loved it. So good. And they've been building up to him for a while in Dawn of X stuff. Like in the Sinister Secrets way back in Hawks and Box, there's a line about him. Emma mentions him in an earlier issue of Marauders. But it's cool seeing a character that's just been essentially a prop before now being an actual character.
And this is what I really like about and of course we've sang the praises of the new X titles. But one of the things I am enjoying is the fact they're able to take small characters like that would not normally be able to subsist in a normal mutant world just because of the way that they're dealt with, but they're allowed to flourish and
a flower.
Yeah, I mean, replacing roles that normally you would see in humans in society. Yeah. Now they're dominated.
Christian Frost getting a ton of really good play as well.
Yeah, what's Christian Frost's name going to be? We don't know. No. But
he's Smooching Iceman.
He's Smooching Iceman.
It's all good. One last thing on Marauders.
Yeah.
I loved Bishop's line where it was the laws of Krakoa say kill no man. Doesn't say nothing about fucking him up.
I was like, you didn't think just because it's a Krakoan gateway that I'm not going to kick it in every time I walk in. So what happens is Bishop is walking into an area that is a little bit tense. And it's got guys basically just waiting for anybody that's going to walk in there and going to gank him. So instead, all you see is his arm come in with a grenade and just kind of drop it. That's the way you kick in a Krakoan gateway.
Bishop is so good at Marauders.
Yes. I'm glad that he's getting his heyday. Bishop hasn't really been able to shine in about 12 years. Easily.
I just really hope that he gets a new costume because I'm not a big fan of his Gary Coleman train conductor look.
With the scarf and everything?
Yeah.
It harkens back to his old days.
Yeah, it's a bad costume. It was a bad costume then. It's a bad costume now.
No, okay. It wasn't exactly Will Spertasio's best work.
Choo-choo.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, that's when the costumes you start in with really do become your first impressions. And he doesn't get the benefit of losing the Gambit Speedo as quickly.
I'm just saying, with how well the court, all their new outfits are, the Red Bishop better get something cool.
He doesn't want to wear red, though.
Yeah.
Which is silly because his bandana's red.
Maybe he can wear blue. I don't care. Just give him something that doesn't look stupid.
Yeah, that's true. He does need a suit. Maybe like a normal suit. Like a red, like a business
that'd be
suit.
Nice and sharp.
Something like a deep scarlet.
But new X book.
Yes.
X-Men Fantastic Four. So good. Like this is a top 5 Docs issue. It's by Chip Zdarsky and the Dodsons, some of my favorite creators, and my God.
And this is really the first evidence of what's going on in Hickman's X-Men spilling into the normal Marvel universe. And of course, we got 2 hero groups. What are we going to do with the first issue of a hero group?
Biff, bam, pow.
Yep, it's all about, I don't understand what you're trying to do here.
Sue Storm slam dunks Magneto.
Yeah, and of course, that's just going to get worse and worse. And everyone else is all about escalating the situation.
Yes.
Even Xavier's like, you better stop that.
So the situation is, as established in Hawks and Pox, Franklin Richards, one of the most powerful mutants in the world.
Right.
The mutants are finally like, it's time to come home, Franklin. And he's like, I don't know if I want to. And so Franklin also, meanwhile, in the pages of Fantastic Four, Franklin has been steadily losing his powers. The more he uses his phenomenal cosmic power, the more it drains away like a battery until he'll eventually be a flat scan.
Yeah, so basically Reed Richards has this theory, and not just about mutants, but basically just about superpowers in general, that it's all he went God particle with this idea. He came up with the God power, and it's like all powers are fueled by this. And without it, they will diminish, go away, and cease. And that seems what's fueling the Fantastic Four's powers. But for some reason, in their adventure that has aged Franklin Richards a good 10 years, he's been cut off from the God power. And now he's just basically a gas tank just emptying himself out.
So good old Charlie X and Eric Leshner show up to pick him up to take him to Krakoa. And of course, Reed and Sue don't take kindly to that.
And there's a really far back throwback to the old X-Men Fantastic Four from like 1992, wherein actually, you know what, even older than that, because this is during the time when Kate Pryde is still intangible because of what happened during the Mutant Massacre.
Yes.
And Franklin Richards goes to console her as she's in her tube, trying to keep herself together. Mutant Massacre really left its scars in the Marvel Universe.
Indeed, it did.
It's one of my favorite storylines. One of my all-time favorite storylines.
I'm more of a Fall of the Mutants guy, but that's real good too.
No, you're more of an Inferno kind of guy.
Inferno's my favorite, but Fall of the Mutants is also really good.
Was really good. That whole Siege Perilous, everything in the Australian Outback, that was really good.
Australian era is my favorite era of X-Men.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's inventive. You got Silvestri. You got Lee's first work.
It seemed it was losing. Oh God, I'm going to go on a tangent if I start talking about the Australian Outback.
We should do a special.
Pump the brakes.
Pump the brakes. Back on X-Men. So everything comes to a head with the reveal that Reed Richards has been, after Franklin tries to go through the portal to Krakoa, it doesn't work because Reed has, while he's been researching the loss of Franklin's powers, put dampeners on him that suppress his X gene.
He pulled a Charles Xavier.
It's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I
did it for your benefit. I was like, that never works.
So he storms off, and there's a really great line from Ben where he's like, Stretch, I'm always trying to convince your kids that you're a good person. You don't make it any easier when you pull crap like this. Yeah,
the fact that Franklin Richards is talking to his Uncle Ben about the fact that as smart as his father is, as inventive and creative as he is, he still can't solve the issue going on with his insane power levels and the Thing's deformity. And, Thing's response goes, well, I don't think he does that on purpose. I mean, because he knows if he somehow did do it on purpose, we would never forgive him.
Yeah.
That's some foreshadowing, I think.
It's such a good reminder of how well Zdarsky wrote the Fantastic Four characters when he was doing Marvel 2-in-1 a year or two ago before the FF came back in full.
When it was Human Torch and Thing.
Yes, that book is excellent.
It was
so good, and it's nice to have a reminder of it. And so the book ends with the Marauders sailing back to Krakoa. Well, sailing somewhere, but tagging along are Franklin and Valeria Richards.
And Valeria, for all intents and purposes, we all figure she's still human. Mm-hmm. Although I have my thoughts on that. Yeah, because, I mean, Valeria hasn't hit puberty, so she could pop the whole mutant gene. And it's likely that she will, considering her parentage.
And the boat, however, what's their ship? Is it just called the Marauder?
It's called the Marauder.
The Marauder is stopped by none other than Doc
Doom.
He's there.
Yes.
To pick a fight with some mutants.
Because that's the way he rolls.
He do. So we'll see how this goes with the classic fight and then team up, take out the bigger threat. I'm really curious to see where this book goes.
I am too.
It's tough to top all the other X books, but this, if it maintains the quality number one, this could turn out to be my favorite of the bunch.
It feels like it's pulling Dr. Doom out of mothballs.
Yeah, I'm trying to, he's got his own solo book right now. So it's not like he's not doing anything.
Well, he has his own solo book, and it wasn't Irredeemable. It was the Iron Man book he was in.
Yeah. Infamous Iron Man,
which is good. Yeah. I don't know what really happened with that. I didn't know how it resolved and how he went back to his normal way of looking at the world. Because, I mean, it feels like it's back to the whole, I'm speaking in third person.
Do you remember that, the annual from Marvel 2-in-1 that focused on Doom? Mm-mm. That's really good. I highly recommend digging that out.
Was that part of what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, it was around the infamous Iron Man time. And it's Ben and Johnny working with Doom, and it's I don't want to get too in depth about it, but it's a really good issue that explores like Doom, his relationship with himself, his relationship with Reed, how like his inner insecurities have held him down. It's really good stuff.
I would like an introspective issue on Doom.
Well, there you go. It's Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 1.
Huh. I have to reflect on that because I know I was grabbing 2-in-1s like crazy, but I wasn't reading them towards the end.
Yeah, it's great series, criminally underrated.
So I think that doth conclude our comic coverage. For now, we're going to take a quick break while my producer talks to you about some stuff, and then we'll get him back with a little bit of news.
Hey, this is Brooke with Haphazard Fiction Studios, and welcome to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week. We are coming to you now with episode 22, and I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Just wanted to take a couple quick seconds to invite everybody out there to check us out on social media. We do have a Facebook page. We post our pictures on Instagram. I believe we have a Twitter out there too. We do put some behind-the-scenes content out there. We've got some pictures of the War Room. You can check out our gaming table that my friend, co-producer, and director Robert made for us. He's a pretty amazing craftsman, and he was able to make us an amazing table for doing recording and gaming, and you'll get a chance to see that if you check us out in our future episodes of game podcasts. If you've got any content you'd like to see us try out, just send us a message via the social media, and, hopefully we'll be able to take your recommendations. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in to us, and I take you back to Casey and Gideon with Hazardous Materials.
And we are back. Before we get to our Birds of Prey opinions, we're going to start off with a little bit of announcements about the free comic book day offerings from both Marvel and DC. So, DC spoiled how Flash Forward's going to end.
Sons of bitches.
Pretty, not crazy about it.
Not happy. Not
so,
thrilled.
Apparently in Flash Forward number 6, which we'll talk to when we get to that also. Yeah. We're still going to talk about it. But, Wally sits in the Mobius chair, which we kind of knew was going to happen from the series itself. Mm-hmm. But he absorbs part of Dr. Manhattan's power, which was left there when he vaporized Owlman in Justice League number 50. And Wally is going to be the cause for the new DC timeline.
Or something along that line. Do you think they're really going to go for the new timeline with this guy?
They said so, yeah. That's like going to be the reason why, like, because they've been talking about this new timeline for a while now, and Wally is going to be the instigator for it.
Yeah, so we got a cover for it here. And as you can see on the cover, the different timelines, including New 52, are represented there.
I mean, it's a pretty Francis Manapul piece.
Mm-hmm. Wally's dressed in blue. But man, can't they just leave our boy alone?
Leave Watchmen alone, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, let that drop.
Like, I was really hoping Doomsday Clock just be getting out of their system, but no, it's going to stick around and have a major... Scotty Lobs thought we were cool. I thought Flash Forward was a good thing. We had a good thing going there. Now we're making our boy Wally into God and rewriting the time.
Now we're not looking forward to issue 6 at all.
Yeah, now I'm dreading it.
I am.
Frankly.
I've been waiting for issue 6 because I want to see what's going on with Wally. And now that I know what they're going to do with him, I'm like...
Yeah, I'm still going to pick... I think it's a free comic book day issue. I'm not going to say no to a free comic.
Of course not.
But I'm definitely kind of dreading it.
I'm already dreading it, yeah.
But on the flip side...
Yeah.
Marvel's X-Men title has a new story, a lead story from Jonathan Hickman and Pepe Larraz, the creative team for House of X.
Right.
So already excited for that. But the backup story is going to be written by Tom Taylor, who we know and love from his work on All New Wolverine.
Right.
So does this mean that Tom Taylor's going to get an X book? Because I'm very into that idea.
And I told you that I just felt like Tom Taylor walked into the X office and pointed at the writers of Fallen Angels and go, fuck you.
Boo this man. I don't boo Brian Hitch. I really enjoy the guy's work outside of Fallen Angels.
This scar will last for a while.
Nah, we're just going to collectively forget Fallen Angels.
Well, apparently everybody else is because issue 6 is their last.
Yeah, they say it's coming back. I don't think it's coming back.
It's never coming back.
With Kid Cable getting his own book, Quanon getting shipped over to Hellions, and I guess Laura got moved over to X-Men, but I guess maybe Tom Taylor will get to do something.
Fallen
Angels
Angels is actually almost universally panned.
Yeah, I haven't seen a book get this widely dunked on in a while.
And almost everybody's got the same issue about that we do.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is reading that awesome All New Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And then this comes around and it's just like, let's just wipe our ass with Laura's story.
Yep. But, I think we harp on that every episode.
Because we're that angry about it. Fallen Angels.
You know
come
what?
on.
Casey, calm down. I got good news.
You got good news?
Yeah. Sam Raimi's going to direct Doctor Strange 2.
Maybe.
I'm very excited. I supply my own sound
maybe
effect.
There because it's still a maybe.
He's in talks.
Yes.
But Variety reported on it, so it's pretty good.
So
sign.
It's not a rumor. He is in talks.
Yeah.
We just don't have an agreement yet. But you know what? I'm optimistic.
God, I hope so.
I'm optimistic.
I was very worried because, as you know, I was very excited to see a more horror take on Doctor Strange, and Scott Derrickson got driven away.
Mm-hmm.
But
Raimi knows how to do that weird horror.
Master of the horror comedy. Evil Dead 2, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, and when you talk about multi-dimensional horror, nothing gets on the nose like Tom. That Raimi guy.
Well, I didn't get my...
almost said Tom Raimi on there. Sam Raimi. Go ahead.
I didn't get my Lament Configuration cameo in Doctor Strange that I wanted, but maybe I'll get a Necronomicon cameo in Doctor Strange 2.
I bet you that's going to happen.
It's gotta. But now the real question is, who will Ted Raimi play?
Oh, you know what? I have some thoughts on that. Maybe Umar.
I told you my pick earlier, but I got to tell it for everyone. Marvel's #1 chump hero, Dr. Druid.
Oh, God, yes.
I want to see this.
I've never seen a more unloved and unliked Avenger than Dr. Druid.
Dr. Druid sucks.
And even his teammates hated him.
Yeah, because he was a bastard that betrayed everyone.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Druid, you're here still.
And then, did you ever read Warren Ellis's Druid miniseries?
I skimmed through it. This was like a long time ago.
Yeah, this was fresh off of his Hellstorm Prince of Lies book. He got a 4-issue. It was supposed to be an ongoing, but then it got canceled when he was writing #3. And he was like, oh, guess I got to wrap everything up.
Was this his attempt to kind of redeem Dr. Druid?
No, it's the exact opposite. It's leaning into Dr. Druid sucking. So the first issue reveals that, like, after betraying the Avengers and being a piece of shit, Druid is basically just living in his apartment, drugged out of his mind most of the time, has a bunch of just layabout magical groupies, not even magical groupies, like people who want to be magic, hanging out, doing drugs in his apartment. And the Druid gods who power him are like, hey, Anthony Druid, you suck. you're the worst.
You're the
and
worst.
So they like tear him apart very graphically. Like trees like grow inside him and just like split him up. And they rebuild him in their image. So he gets like a long flowing full head of hair. And he's like a smarmy Warren Ellis asshole character. And the book ends with Damien Hellstorm being like, hey, all the stuff that happened, this was kind of a test. And you failed. And you suck, and you're going to go to hell forever. And so the last shot of Dr. Druid, and they've never brought him back from the dead after this. He's still dead. And it has the caption, his body was later found burned to a crisp in a dumpster. And the last page is just his charred remains in a dumpster. And there's never been a more fitting end for a character.
So what you're trying to tell me is that Dr. Druid's fate was a dumpster fire.
Yes, literally a dumpster fire.
God.
Yeah, Dr. Druid sucks, and I would love to see a goofy version of him played by Ted Raimi. That's all I want from Doctor Strange 2.
You know, I think he actually came up in a Dead Avengers miniseries.
Yes.
With Captain Marvel and Swordsman and all those guys.
It was during Chaos War, right? Yeah, it's fun stuff.
And he did, I don't know if he did redeemable shit on that or if he was still a douche.
Last I saw him was in Squadron Supreme about 4 years ago, and he still sucks. He's still a jerk.
You know, I always get him and Master Pandemonium mixed up.
See, the way you remember is Master Pandemonium has baby hands. His hands made of babies.
Yeah. Well, I easily know the characters are two different creatures, and I know that because Master Pandemonium, he's got that star hole in his stomach, and he's got demon hands.
He's got baby hands.
But I always figured, you know what? It seems to me that Dr. Druid is secretly Master Pandemonium.
That would make Dr. Druid way cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was all during that whole West Coast Avengers thing. So I figured that would be the hook.
Dr. Druid had never done anything like
he was slightly cool.
Given Scarlet Witch fake babies, so
yeah, he even had that weird pattern baldness that you see in accountants in the 80s.
Dr. Druid had that little
and then it had like a little tail, almost like mine. Except not as glorious.
I'm about to say, I was like, do you really want to invite that comparison?
No, I don't want to invite that comparison. Thank God for my strong hairline.
Dr. Druid and Doctor Strange 2. Make it happen, people.
Yep.
And a little bit and funny crossover announcement. I can't say it without giggling. From the hallowed halls of IDW Comics comes Transformers My Little Pony. I'm
How
so
are they
excited.
going to pull this monster out?
Well, the last time they've done at least one crossover with them before in Tom Scioli's phenomenal Transformers G.I. Joe, which is a high point of IDW's very high Transformers book.
This is the time when Thundercracker joined the Joe team, right?
No. This is a different thing. This was not in the main continuity. This one, I think you've seen Tom Scioli's art before. It's very like, I would describe it as the size of like an 80s toy box. Like it's this really cool, quick little style. It feels very, very old school. But the way it ends is the Joes ultimately send Megatron like through a dimensional portal. And they're like, well, we'll never know where he winds up. And Megatron wakes up in like the 80s My Little Pony universe.
Oh my God, seriously?
It's great. Yeah.
That's got to be the hook for this whole thing.
I doubt it will be because Tom Scioli isn't one of the credited creators, but I would really like to see at least him do a one pager. That'd be really fun. But yeah, I'm hyped to see where this goes. I've been kind of burnt by IDW's new continuity, but their crossovers are always fun just because they're continuity free.
You know, this reminds me of the Marvel Archie Comics crossover that involved Punisher and Archie.
A classic.
What the hell was going on
Stone
there?
Cold classic.
Also, more recently, the Predator and Archie, which was bloody.
Yeah, surprisingly disturbing. Because I was like, "Oh, this is a fun horror romp," and I got to that final issue, and I was, "Oh, this is horrific."
Yeah, they even killed Sabrina in that.
Yeah,
I think she got like beheaded or head like ripped off. Or
pretty much everyone but
everybody got the bad end of it.
Betty and Veronica, who then like use a DNA rewriting machine to transform the Predator into Archie. Very disturbing.
Yeah, even Jughead got the bad end.
The last panel of the book, right here. It's the Predator watching in horror as his body is turned into Archie Andrews. Ugh. Disturbing.
That was
horrifying.
I got to hand it to whoever's doing Archie. And I know it's in different hands these days. That's the reason why we're getting all these experimental books out of them. But They really are going for a lot of shock value on like this book, Life After Archie, the Sabrina, the chilling thing.
What's his name? Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa is the chief creative of Archie. When he got the position after writing Afterlife with Archie, and that really just getting a huge shot in the arm to the company. Like, again, like he became chief creative officer. He's the showrunner for Riverdale. He's the showrunner for Sabrina. He's the showrunner for Katie Keene.
I was always curious as to how even Archie books were even selling.
Not very well until Afterlife with Archie.
I mean, you work at a comic store.
Mm-hmm.
Do you actually ever see, well, back in the day when this was like the old school Archie, anyone actually walking up to the counter with old school Archie books?
No. Like,
I've never seen it. I've done my fair share of comic store watching.
We don't even stock like vintage Archie stuff. We might get like one of the little digests from time to time. That's like.
But apparently there was a business for this because it sustained them until they decided to get
never
radical.
Never underestimate the power of nostalgia. And Archie's apparently the one damn company that can still be in a grocery store. Don't know why anyone else can't tap that market.
I don't know either. I saw a grocery store Archie for a long time.
Yeah, it's still kicking.
Baffles me. I gotta know that business model.
But without further ado, we put on our best Stephen A. Smith hats and give you First Take, Birds of Prey.
Yes, indeed. You saw this yesterday. I saw it before we got out here. Okay, something you have to know about me, and I have yet to figure out exactly what causes this. But when I watch movies, and especially action movies, so there's a lot of stuff going on. With the dialogue on, I'm in. I'm focused on what we're talking about. I hear that, but the minute that the action starts getting really ramped up, like in the climax of a film, I will fall asleep.
That's so wild.
Almost every single time. And often I have to watch a movie a second time. So I watched Birds of Prey up until like the car chase scenes. And then I was out, and when I woke up, it was done.
You didn't miss much. You missed like 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quick scene.
Because I remember just kind of like opening my eyes. I go, okay, that's Harley Quinn.
Like
She's kicking somebody.
You
now.
saw like the fight in like the funhouse, right? Oh, man. I'm trying to think then.
I really checked out.
You missed some great stuff.
I did. I feel bad.
Casey's narcolepsy aside, I really dug this movie. I went in with pretty low expectations because I've had Harley fatigue for a solid like 5 years at this point.
I remember you told me about that.
But this was really, really good. It was well done Harley stuff. And I kind of had to like, and even going in, I was like, okay, don't go in expecting like a full Birds of Prey movie. You're basically just going to go get a Harley movie with a dash of birds. And that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was, because the team up happened like in the third act.
Yeah. In the last act of the movie is when they finally all converge. But my God, Journey Smollett as Black Canary was awesome. Mary-Liz Winstead's Hunch was a ton of fun.
She was so awkward.
Rosie Perez as I'm not the question yet, but as Renee Montoya, also awesome. Like, there are worse problems for a movie to have than leaving you wanting more. And that's what this movie did. It really made me excited to see them as a unit going forward.
And they also got comedian Ali Wong to play Rosie Perez's character's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, a very quick appearance.
Cementing really early, very quickly, yes, this is...
iconic lesbian Renee Montoya.
Exactly.
But the whole time I was just like, when she get the question mask, though? Even so, minor spoiler, they get more comic-y style costumes at the very end.
They actually even make a joke about her age. One of the cops kind of messes with her, and she go, "I gotta respect your elders, especially the elderly." And she's like, "You're younger than me, and you're in a desk job right now. What does that say about you?"
I really like Rosie Perez as Renee, and when it was coming out, I'll be first to admit I was like, why do they cast her so much older than the others? But it really worked for the character.
And it did seem like an odd choice, considering that Renee is typically a younger character.
Yeah,
in her 30s, and if I'm not mistaken, Rosie Perez is probably in her mid 50s.
Yeah, because she's been around since. Like, she's been doing movies at least since the 90s. Like, White Men Can't Jump is a big thing I can think of.
That's the first thing I think of, yeah. God, I think she was in some Spike Lee movies too, wasn't she?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. She's got some beers on her. Yeah.
But she was awesome. Journey Smollett's Black Canary was my favorite part of the movie. I thought she was amazing. I was unsure of what they were doing with their story at first. I was like, I don't know if I like that, but
she was all legs.
Yeah. Perfect Black Canary fights.
Yeah.
Just doing those sick kicks and the bell bottoms.
And that double spin that she did.
Yeah.
To bust out that window. I was like, that was impressive.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved her design. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of the movies is in the final fight when she's just spinning around, kicking dudes and getting her hair in her face, and Harley gives her a scrunchie. It was really cute.
I saw that. I
really
did see that.
Okay, so yeah, you saw that scene.
I did see that. I saw some of the scenes. I usually saw the mob scene where all of them are fighting all at the same time.
And speaking of the fight scenes, you can really tell they got the stunt coordinator for John Wick on this one, because especially in the one fight in the middle, the one in the evidence locker, really got major John Wick vibes from that fight scene.
Yes, very much so. That was the cocaine scene.
Yes, which is excellent. That was
great.
The gag in the trailer that got me I was like, okay, I'm kind of on board with this movie now.
I have to say that every time Bruce cackled, I laughed. I just couldn't get over.
Such a sweet dog.
I kept looking at the scenes because clearly we're talking about a CG hyena.
Yeah.
Because you can't tame a hyena to do stuff with Margot Robbie's face. It just doesn't happen. Have you ever seen a hyena's mouth and shows its teeth? It's horrifying to look at.
They're good boys.
Yeah, I mean, you got lions oh, wow, those are some big fangs. You see dogs, oh, that's some little sharp things. Hyenas look like sharks when they open up their mouths.
Ready to rend and tear.
Horrifyingly scary.
They got many, many teeth and many barbed penises.
Exactly. They got bone-breaking teeth. So, yeah, I wouldn't think that they're going to use a real hyena.
Yeah. I was talking to some friends at work, and they were like, I wanted to see Bruce in the fight scenes. And I was like, well, CGI hyenas are expensive.
Very expensive. Yeah. And this movie was operating on an $80 million budget.
And very lean, too. It's a quick hour 50.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually the shortest of the DCU films.
Yeah, but it didn't need a ton of time. I think it does. It's very economical with how it operates and how the flow of the movie goes. Although I don't know if they necessarily needed to do the story non-linearly. I'm not sure it 100% worked, but it was fun.
I think that the reason why it was okay to do this story non-linearly, and there is actually a point where, she basically stops the scene and she goes, no, this is not what happened. And you go back and you don't come back for a good 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, that's right. She was here.
I do like how things loop around. That is pretty well done.
And I think that really comes from the fact that this movie is a Harley Quinn movie. That's really what this is all about. So her method of thinking affects the narrative almost completely because this movie is almost completely narrated.
The animated opening was a ton of fun, and I really love the grievance counter. So there's a running gag in the movie where whenever Harley's about to fight someone or someone is going to attack Harley, they do a little kind of stat counter thing. It's like name the grievance, and it'll be
sometimes there'll be name question mark grievances question mark.
They do they get some really good gags in there. I will say this. So Black Mask, a ton of fun. Mm-hmm. My main issue going in of him not wearing the mask, he doesn't really wear the mask much in the movie.
No, he doesn't. Not until
fix it for the end. But Ewan McGregor is so fun. He is on that coked out bullseye level.
Yeah, he's definitely on another stratosphere because
his outfits.
Yeah, everything was decadent as hell. He's always wearing gloves with his initials on it.
Yeah, I of all the amazing looks in the movie, my favorite one is it's near the end. He's wearing I don't know if he had matching pants, but he has a shirt on where the print is just his face.
Yes.
Dramatically looking off to the side. And I want it. I want that shirt so bad.
Well, I remember he was talking to Harley Quinn and he's showing her all of his lovely things. Oh, he was talking to Black Canary and he's showing us, this is my acupuncture statues. You can see all the holes here to practice acupuncture. And she goes, what's this statue? Oh, that's of me. I had that made. Isn't it beautiful?
I really loved his vanity. That was very keeping with the character. But one thing that kind of struck me is that a lot of it felt like Penguin stuff. The character felt much more like the Penguin than it felt like Black Mask to me. Between his manic outbursts, him owning a club, that really was kind of putting me in the
definitely
Penguin mood.
But his level of narcissism was not.
Penguin's pretty narcissistic, especially his.
Well, his
obsession with property was also a really big Penguin thing to me.
Penguin is confident in his abilities and his wealth,
Mhm.
but not in his visage.
That's true. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But like because a big theme of the movie is Black Mask like wanting to own people and all
And
his
own
possessions.
things. Yeah,
and that's a very
And he
Penguin
gets
thing.
really worked up when he's like, but those are my things. That's my thing. Because
Yeah.
the whole MacGuffin of this whole movie is a diamond
Mhm.
that Cassandra Cain steals. And he gets it worked up in his mind's eye. That's my diamond.
Mhm.
That's my stuff. Don't they understand this is my stuff? And he loses his shit. And then, Victor Zsasz has to kind of chill him out. And that's
Which
when you get
a weird take on Victor Zsasz too.
Yeah, because it's heavily implied that Black Mask and Victor Zsasz are lovers.
Yeah.
And that's why he's able to bring him down so quickly.
Which weird choice. It's kind of one of those things of queer coding villains where you're just like, I'm not sure this is the best decision
You
for
think
now.
they were like doing the whole soup. This is the movie Soup. We need a little bit of gay in this. All right. We got Raimi Montoya already. We need more gay. Let's get some more gay in here. Okay. Now Black Mask is gay. Now we're good. Let's move this on.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, it just feels reductive instead of constructive. Like,
It didn't seem to push
representation.
them. It didn't seem to push the narrative on Black Mask, but it just seemed like
I mean, a character's sexuality doesn't have to be like a major plot point, but I think the bigger issue is just when you are.
I don't want to say pandering is the word.
And I'm not saying pandering. I'm saying more of that's vilifying homosexuality and using like negative coding.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have Raimi Montoya's very clear, very obvious sexuality on display. Awesome. And even like the other Birds of Prey, I mean, it's almost clear that Harley is bi.
Yeah.
And the way she reacts to people.
There's a scene where it's flashing through her exes and there's a woman in there.
Yeah, see.
But yeah, like, I don't know. It just felt like some pretty outdated tropes in regards to Mr. Zsasz. And it's weird because we keep getting these adaptations of Mr. Zsasz where they add some spin to it. Like the one in Gotham felt very off. This one felt... And what's surprising is Victor Zsasz is such a straightforward character. I'm surprised they don't adapt him.
Yeah, for the uninitiated, Victor Zsasz is a serial killer in Gotham. He is known for carving hash marks and scars on his body for each one of his victims. And that's it. That's the depth of his character.
He's a crazy guy with a knife.
Yeah, there's really no other serious depth to him. And even the people that wrote and created him and write him are quick to point out that's really all he is.
Yeah. And so I'm just surprised that they keep using him as a henchman and developing more when I feel like there are other characters that are better suited to those kind of roles. So why do we keep trying to reinvent Zsasz to fit that niche?
Because he's such a blank slate and he's so easy to manipulate without offending the overall canon.
Yeah.
Because there's no one out there that's a Victor Zsasz purist going, no, that's not the depth of character I'm certain
that's
of.
literally what I'm doing right now. But I don't really care about Victor Zsasz.
You're painting broad strokes about the trope itself, which is what we're that's the important part. It's got nothing to do with Victor Zsasz and his depth. It's got the fact that he's the canvas that this particular trope has been put on.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, weird choices in regard to Victor Zsasz, but it like didn't kill the movie for me.
No, not me either.
The biggest issue I had with it was its decision to use Cassandra's name on a character that had nothing to do with Cassandra Cain.
This I did not like.
Yeah,
at all.
Like she's kind of just like a generic street thief kid.
There was no need for her to even be named that.
Yeah, the character herself is fine. I didn't really have any issues there. It's just when you're using an established character's name like that, especially one who has a small but devoted fan base, you take that character off the board. Like we can never get a Cassandra Cain now in this continuity that will be a traditional Cassandra Cain because this one's pretty clearly not the daughter of David Cain and Lady Shiva.
No, I mean, this is like this is a foster kid, thief with a broken arm, and that's all she does is pickpockets and be a smart mouth.
Yeah.
Completely antithetical of what Cassandra Cain really is. Yeah. Cassandra Cain doesn't speak. Very methodical in what she does.
Arguably the best fighter in the DC universe, or will become that.
Yeah, and only subservient to Shiva, and she even kicks Shiva's ass at one point. So that can be argued.
Kick her own mom's ass.
I don't think I've really had the Cassandra Cain that I've liked in several years. Ever since they pretty much erased the idea that she was ever Batgirl.
Yeah,
I've lost it.
Yeah, I would go. Yeah, I think the last time she was really good was when Morrison had. Well, he didn't even do that much with her, but when Black Bat, she showed up as Black Bat in Batman Inc. And that's about the last time that I was like, oh, cool, Cassandra Cain's in this. And then they made her orphan, and I was like, well, that's a stupid name.
Yeah, I hated that. I really hated that.
It's like, I mean, newsflash, most of the bad kids are orphans.
And what really, I love Cassandra Cain, and I like the way that she was properly developed, because in the first few issues of her Batgirl title, she didn't speak at all, because her language was violence.
Yeah.
That's how she interpreted communication, was through action, violence, and such. And then, like, I guess something happened to her brain, like a drug, and introduced the idea of verbal communication, and that's where that
and a lot of most of it, though, you have to credit to Barbara Gordon, like rehabilitating her and like educating her, teaching her how to read, teaching her how to write, which is such a good arc. Ugh. Kelly Puckett and Damian Scott don't get enough credit for how good of a Bat book they wrote.
I thought the fact that Cassandra Cain was so completely alien to the way of normal people's society, and the way it would clash, like at one point, she's living with roommates, but she's still Cassandra Cain. So they're all talking and living in room, and she just walks out of her bedroom completely naked, gets her food, gets her drink, completely oblivious to what she's creating in this environment, and then walks back. And they're all like, did that just happen?
I think that was when she was in The Outsiders, right?
Yeah.
But we're getting off track from the movie. It kind of goes back to why you shouldn't bring that much baggage and expectations into a movie, because on its own terms, it's great. My only really issues with it are just stemming from like having an expectation of who Cassandra Cain should be, or wanting a Birds of Prey movie, despite every single piece of marketing being like, this is a Harley movie. Calm down.
It felt to me like they wanted to bring this character in, but they didn't know how they were going to be able to bring this character in and make you give a crap about her unless they put a name you recognize.
Yeah, which is kind of frustrating.
But that's antithetical to what, because anybody that pays attention to Cassandra Cain, no one is going to like this version.
Yeah.
None.
A good friend of mine, his favorite character, period, is Cassandra Cain. And while he liked the movie, it was a very big mark against it for him.
Yeah. I would totally understand that.
But going back to that expectation thing, I was very worried that the movie would kind of just have the birds as like hanger-ons to Harley Quinn and be subservient to Harley Quinn, and that it would be more about boosting her. But it was pleasantly the other way around. It really does feel like using the Harley's strong brand to boost these other characters.
Right.
Which I really appreciate. And I really do hope they get their own movie and a chance to shine, because I love the interpretation of those characters. I really want to see more of them. I want to see Oracle show up, maybe. I want to see Lady Blackhawk.
Oh, yeah. I love Lady Blackhawk.
And speaking of Gail Simone's great run, I really appreciated just how many names they had listed in their special thanks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was a massive block. Like, it was, I'm not going to just go ahead and say it was every creator that's ever worked on Birds of Prey, but they hit pretty much everyone I could think of, and then a few additional ones like Palmiotti and Connor got a special shout out for their work on Harley. Tom Taylor got a shout out for his work on Injustice.
Surprisingly, not surprisingly, but I actually had to duck out before the full credits ended, so I don't know if there was a stinger at the end.
There's not like a clip. There's a little audio bit. It's a pretty good joke though. Okay. I won't spoil it for listeners to know.
I usually see my movies at the Alamo Drafthouse, and I had a gift card for this one, and I did my stuff, and I was like, I got my food, got my tickets, and I realized, I don't really have enough to give this guy a good tip. So I tipped, but I tipped crap. And I was like, I couldn't deal with the social pressure of having him come into the area and then knowing that I've tipped him crappily. So I ducked out before the credits ended.
You're a monster.
It's just what the social pressures that you have to tip people because the people that hire them don't give them enough. It sucks. But yeah, I tipped the guy. I just don't think I tipped him enough.
You're a monster.
And he did refill my drink for me very quickly.
Yeah. Should have given him a tip.
I'm a piece of shit.
Gift cards are not an excuse to not tip people. They're an excuse to tip people better. That's what.
And you know what?
You pay that forward.
I should have, and I didn't, and I felt horrible about it. And of course,
next time you go, you give them that 30%. You go high.
I do go high on my tips.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the guy that usually tips at minimum $5 at the pizza guy at the door. Even though the little slider goes, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. No. At least 5.
Well, hopefully all of our wait staff listeners did not stop listening in a rage because of your bad
if you work
tipping
at
story.
the North Park Alamo Draft House and
Kick Casey's ass.
you wonder why you got tips so damn low, I'm really sorry.
Well, so yeah, I guess in conclusion, Birds of Prey is a good. I think it's a solid 8, maybe 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like
8's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and comfy.
Yeah. Cassandra Cain definitely is a strike against.
Yeah. But it's on its own terms, delightful action movie, nice and lean, great action sequences, killer soundtrack too. Really dug the way it was. My big takeaway as soon as I finished, like, wow, this is the movie Suicide Squad desperately wanted to be.
And a lot of people thought the same way. In fact, Metacritic's got this thing at a mid-80s right now.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It's stylish, it's slick, it's fun. Check it out.
Yep.
And with that, I think we will see you guys next week.
That's definitely us. Of course, all of our stuff down here. We got a Patreon. We're still doing that thing. We got an Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
We've got
where we post all the pictures that we use in the show.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I'm a little bit behind. I haven't posted last week's, but I'm definitely going to get on that. What else do we got going on here? Subscribe.
Yeah.
Do our stuff we record on Friday and we post on Tuesday, which is like the day before comics actually show up. Yeah, we're trying to let you know what you missed out on. But if you forget, hey, when's Tuesday? Get the little bell thing on YouTube, let you know when that happens.
Mm-hmm. So give us likes, give us comments, give us that engagement. Review us. Great way to help us out without having to spend any money. Give us those 5 stars on whatever podcast user you use. If people ask for recommendations, honestly, one of the best ways you can support us without having to spend a dime.
Yeah, give us likes. Help me validate myself because I clearly can't do it.
Case is in it for the likes.
I am. Anyway, see ya.